Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Have you ever been asked or told to do something and it just didn't sit right with you? Your conscience is kind of nagging at you, saying this just isn't right. I don't think I can do this. And it just, if you did it, it just feels really icky. What Alexis Aranoia would call the ick factor. Well, I've had that happen to me a bunch of times, and I've had it happen an awful lot recently. So that's why I want to make this video about 10 things that I will not do in order to grow my YouTube channel, even though the YouTube experts have told me these are the things I should do. So let's get started. Number one, I'm not going to pick a topic just because it's profitable. I just watched an interview with a very successful YouTube creator. I have no idea who he is, but apparently he has this incredibly, big, profitable Pokemon channel, right? But he was talking about the idea that before he started that channel, he didn't know anything about Pokemon. He just recognized that this could be a real profitable niche. He learned everything he could about it, found out where the spot where nobody was doing anything was, and made a channel about that. And it's huge. And there's nothing inherently dishonest or unethical about that. It's just wrong for me to do. It would feel icky. It would feel fake and contrived. And so I don't want to do that. That's not me. And it would not be authentic. And you would suffer for it. Along the same lines, number two, I'm not going to pretend to care about something just because it gets views. My channel for a long time was about RPGs. I've done a lot of bass guitar stuff as well. I've reviewed a bunch of RPGs, but there are channels out there that review the really popular, or talk a lot about the really popular RPGs, and they can make quite a bit of money and have tons and tons of views. And likewise, there's channels out there that review bass guitar gear all the time and talk about this, that, and the other thing, and these are things that I just don't care about. And yes, I could pick either one of those niches and probably make some decent money doing that and be a competitor in those markets. But I don't compare, I don't care about those things. I really don't. So once again, I'm not going to do something that feels fake because it would just be disingenuous and inauthentic and icky. All right. Number three, I'm not going to niche down until I feel trapped. I could scale way down and pick one niche and do that. But, as I just heard Dan Coe say, I'd rather be a mission-based creator than a topic-based one. Because, I've got a ton of passions, recovery and self-improvement and, self-care and obviously RPGs and bass guitars and, what do you do now in life and reinvention, all that kind of stuff. My mission is the real thing, or what I really care about at the end of the day is critical thinking and making decisions based upon the truth, seeking the truth, and living an authentic, life, that kind of stuff. And that kind of pervades everything that I talk about. So that's more what I want to go after. Let's see. So it would feel fake if I just talked about one topic is what I'm getting at. Number four, I'm not going to endorse anything I don't believe in. Yes, I've talked about bass, guitar gear that I think is awesome, or some games I think are awesome, or other stuff that I think is the cat's meow. But I'm not going to do that just because somebody gives me money. Maybe I'll try something and say, "Hey, this is really cool." Okay, you can I'll endorse it. But stuff that I don't care about, I don't believe in, I'm not going to do that because that would feel incredibly unethical because, well, it is. All right, number five. I'm not going to gatekeep useful information. If I got something to share, I'm going to share it. I'll share it here for free. That doesn't mean that at some point I won't make some digital product or whatever the heck it is, where, I'll share something and it'll be, it'll cost something, but it'll just be packaged differently. And, I've watched various creators that, are very upfront that they don't hold anything back. They give everything away for free, and they have, more business they can handle with the stuff that they sell, which is essentially, once again, the same thing, but maybe packaged differently or more personally or whatever happens to be. You get the idea. But I'm not going to hold back and say, well, there's this thing. One thing I won't tell you unless you give me $8.99. Number six, I'm not going to create dishonest clickbait. And yes, I know that there is a science to creating compelling thumbnails and titles, a science that I have not yet mastered, obviously. But having said that, I don't want to have these really clickbaity, dishonest, things, just hooks just to get you to click. And I've had a couple titles and that would just get really close to that, and I already feel a little bit icky, and I'm not sure about this. So I don't want to venture any further into that. Let's see. Number 7, I'm not going to use manipulative watch time tricks. And there is this formula that people tell you to use on YouTube where you get somebody in and you hook them in the first 30 seconds and you promise to tell them about something, and then you keep stringing them along and stringing them along, but like, we have to wait for this, but first we're going to talk about this other thing. And their goal is to get you to watch the video for as long as possible so they make more money and rack up more watch time and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is, I recognize this when I see it and it offends me. And I don't want to do that to you. So if I got something to tell you, I'm going to tell you. Yes, I may be long-winded and rambly sometimes. I'm trying to work on that, but I'll tell you. I'm not going to intentionally make you watch this whole video just to tell you something that's important. All right, let's see. Number 8. I'm not going to pretend to have all the answers because I don't. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy with some experience that's gone on some transformative journeys, for lack of a better word, has learned a lot of things throughout life, and I like to share those things. I don't have all the answers. I'm just somebody I'm just a truth seeker. And, what I have and what I have learned and the things I've thought about and the opinions I've, developed, I'm going to share those. That's it. But like my advanced biology teacher said, I don't know the answers. I just know the questions. So number 9, I'm not going to script myself into somebody I'm not. And I understand that structure helps people stay engaged, but I'm not going to write this really detailed script or design this really, intricate hook or, be over the top, with my personality and all those kind of things in order to, be more appealing or that kind of stuff. I'm going to be myself. Yeah, I could work on some of my, presentation and what have you, but not to the point where it's artificial. That's something that I have no desire to do because, once again, it wouldn't be Ivan. It would be this caricature of me, and it wouldn't be how I speak and all that kind of stuff. And number 10, I'm not going to make videos that I wouldn't watch. So I'm not going to force myself into super high energy and, jump cut and graphics heavy and B-roll and all this other kind of stuff because I don't like those. And so I'm not going to make videos that, I wouldn't watch. I'm going to make the kind of videos that I would watch. And if that's something you would like to watch, that's great because it would be me and not, not something that was inauthentic. And, so that's at the end of the day, that's it. And there are other things that I would not do or sacrifice in order to succeed on YouTube, and things like my relationships and recovery and, some passions and what have you. But those are kind of, fall into a different category, and that's something to talk about another time, maybe. But I would really love to hear from you. Have you been in this kind of situation? What would you not give up? What would you not do in order to succeed at something that you would want to succeed at? Or what wouldn't you do even if you were told by somebody in authority to do it because your conscience said that's not the right thing to do? I'd like to hear about that. Have a good one, kids, and be authentic. Be yourself.